A package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail those shoot 'em ups, and that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with a response video. Recently, good mate Dave, LawnboysPost1975, did a video on his memories of the Sega Master System. As it's having another anniversary this year. And he was listing, 5 of his favourite games for the system. In no particular order. He didn't do this as a formal question or anything like that. He said favourite games. I've limited it to 5 to make it hard on myself, because I probably could have easily picked 10, because the Sega Master System is a particular system that I've always liked. When I started out on YouTube, it was a particular system that I decided I wanted to try and get as much of a full set as possible. Yeah, so to make it even harder on myself, I've picked 5, and I've tried not to pick all shoot 'em ups, although, of course, knowing me, it will be a little heavy on the shoot 'em ups. And it's a little hard to put them in any particular order, so they're not. It's not a I'm not going to list any one of these as number 1. I'll just pick them off the shelf, and I'm just going to show the pile as it comes. So one of the picks here, and any of these could have easily been my number 1 pick, is of course R-Type. They're pretty much for home systems, not counting the Sharp 68000. Because that's virtually unattainable by most people. The best version of R-Type, other than the PC Engine, is the Sega Master System version. It really, really is a good version. Not that I have huge memories of playing this one back in the day. This is probably because I would have seen it back in the day and had a quick go, but I never really had the opportunity to play it much back in the day. But I absolutely love this version. It probably would have been one of the earlier games I got for the Sega Master System, and I have played it heaps, and it really is a great version. Bar sprite flickering and everything like that, it plays very well and is very close to the arcade. So for my next pick, and I said these are strictly coming off on a pile of 5, we have Power Strike 2, which me being down here in Australia, I'm in one of the 2 places this was released. This was released here in Australia and Germany, so they're the only places where you can find copies. So it's a sequel, obviously, to Power Strike, which in itself is quite a good shooter. And these are actually, Power Strike and Power Strike 2 are actually a Lest and a Lest 2, so they are similar, not quite exactly the same as a Lest and a Lest 2 on the MSX2. The MSX2 versions run a little bit faster and have better music, although Power Strike 1 does actually contain the FM sound, so if you run it on a Master System with the FM unit plugged into it, it makes it even closer to the MSX version because of the FM sound. Power Strike 2, unfortunately, even though it's a sequel, doesn't have the extra FM music in it. But it does have better defined graphics than the first one, so it does play slightly better. And just like a Lest 2 on the MSX, I feel plays better than the first Lest, so is this one. So out of my 2, that's my favourite. Next, yes, one more shoot 'em up. I had to sneak another shoot 'em up. And this one, I'm a particular fan of the Darius series, so of course I'm going to pick Sage. I never knew this one existed for the Master System back in the day, so this was only a discovery when I started collecting for the Master System. And it's amazing this game was even possible on the Master System. It actually uses some very clever techniques. Runs at quite a decent rate, so it doesn't suffer from too much slowdown or anything like that. And Darius games are quite colourful games, and the Master System pulls off a very good job of running the game. It's also one of the more colourful boxes from the Sega Master System collection, because most of the boxes are a little bit boring. Next we have, and I could have probably picked any game in this series as well, but this one has to be my favourite. So Wonderboy 3, The Dragon's Trap, which is the game I most remember from playing back in the day. I did also play this one in the arcades. I mean, I played the original Wonderboys in the arcades as well. And this is just such a fun game. It has a password save. There's a lot of the game to get into and work your way through. So there's a lot of gameplay in this one. The PC Engine also has quite a decent version of this as well, and I believe, not that I've played the PC Engine one because I've got it, but there's a pretty good Amiga version as well. So my last pick for my top 5, and once again I went for a different genre, and I didn't want to pick another shoot 'em up, so that eliminated, and I said things that I haven't been able to pick. So before I reveal the last one, also rounds would be Space Harrier, Shinobi. You've also got any of the Fantasy Zone games. They are wonderful, wonderful games. But we had to put a driving game in there. So the original Outrun. There are several Outrun games for the Master System. I really do like the original, and it plays really well on the Master System. Obviously, not quite at the same quality and frame rate as the Mega Drive, of course, because that's a 16-bit console. But still, when this came out for the Master System, it absolutely blew me away, same as did other games like Space Harrier and the like. The fact of how well the Master System did with the arcade games of the time, and it really was, you know, the arcade brought home, and it was that much better than the Ataris and the Televisions and even the ColecoVision that had come out around the same time. And also remembering that we didn't really get to see the NES. I remember it being in Maya stores and things like that. But also, even if I had more access to the NES, I actually hated the NES when I'd only had access to the PAL version of the NES, where the games run a lot slower, the music runs slower, and they just don't play right. It's not until you get into overseas NESs from either obviously the US or you're playing the Famicom in Japan that you get to see the games playing at proper speed. Whereas the Master System doesn't seem to suffer anywhere near as much speed difference between PAL and NTSC, so, and thus ruining the playability of the games. And plus also Master System games can be more colourful than NES games when programmed well, because of the colour restrictions on the NES. There's the programmer coming out at me. But yeah, there's my top 5 Master System games. Probably if I put all these games away and came back on another day, I might pick 5 different ones. So what are your 5 favourite Master System games? Post a video response or just put text down below, and also make sure you go check out Dave LawnboysPost1975's video. I'll put a link down below for that as well. Alright, I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.